Good afternoon. My name is Craig Cook, and I am here at the law office of Craig L. Cook, and I want to talk to you about pursuing a wrongful death or pursuing other wrongful death lawsuits in both Arkansas and Oklahoma. We have several of our lawyers who are licensed in both states. So this is not a set of facts or subject that you just really like to talk about a lot, because you're having to confront several emotions. And there are times to do this and times not to do this. But if you have a situation where, for instance, a person passes away in a hospital that was going to be discharged the next day for unexplained reasons, they were allowed to fall, or they somehow or another just all of a sudden expired while they were in the hospital or died, or they were in a nursing home, and even though they were in a nursing home, they weren't expected to go to hospice. They were expected to just be rehabbed, and they were stable, and there wasn't a lot of problems. If you have those kind of fact scenarios, even though a lot of people cannot entertain this, you need to think about getting an autopsy. So if you suspect foul play and the cause of death is not readily apparent, consider an autopsy. A lot of times, there's been a lot of cases that I've had that I might have taken or maybe might not have pursued and found out I couldn't do anything with later on if I had an autopsy. And it's about to get to the point that I'm going to automatically insist upon that in some cases. Other cases you can kind of tell. You've got the death certificate, you can look at the medical records, and you can just trace it and see. But there's others that's unclear that you really need an autopsy. So this is just one of the considerations. If you believe there's foul play and you can't really tell the cause of death at that time. Next, in regards to wrongful death, you'll need to set up an estate before bringing any cause of action. Now, there's a caveat with that. You can technically do that in the state of Arkansas, set it up, bring a cause of action for wrongful death without an estate, but that's perilous. There's problems with that, and I wouldn't generally recommend that. In Oklahoma, you can do the same thing. It's not as perilous to do it without an estate, but just generally want to get an estate set up and move forward. So when you say setting up an estate, we're not like we're going to take the property and take it through the estate. You've got to have a legal entity to bring the cause of action. And another big reason you got to set up an estate is the medical care providers may not give you your medical records, especially in situations where there's nursing home negligence and also medical negligence. They're just not going to give you the medical records until you get an estate set up. So if you see that there's some foul play that has occurred, set up an estate and get the medical records. You can go through that step, setting up an estate, getting the medical records, and still not have a case, but indications are that might be something there, then you simply have to set up an estate to get the medical records. Next, make sure you get a copy of the medical records. Again, you'll have to set up an estate on wrongful death to get those. If you have a situation where the person passes away in regard to an automobile accident, make sure that you get a copy of that automobile accident, make sure that there's pictures taken, etc. So wrongful death doesn't just encompass just medical negligence, also encompasses people who pass away, automobile accident, big truck accidents, etc. So make sure you get the records, medical records, police report, etc. If you are too distraught or just can't handle that, contact us and we'll assist you in getting all those things. Next, contact an attorney as quickly as possible. This also goes in reference to getting the medical records and police report. The best policy, if basically death is a catastrophic injury, but if you have a catastrophic set of damages, i.e. death, best thing for you to do is get an attorney and let them get a hold of it, get the accident reconstructions out there, get an investigator out there, get pictures, get measurements. If it's an automobile accident, if it's somebody passed away as a result of foul play, either a hospital or a nursing home, make a decision whether you want to have an autopsy done. You need to get an attorney involved to guide you in that regard. Our office has the ability to help you in that regard and can guide you in that regard. There are certain people that can do autopsies for you. We have accident reconstructionists that we utilize. Have other experts that we can utilize to make a determination if you have a cause of action in regards to car accidents. If you've got a situation where a person's passed away in a hospital, and based upon the medical records, you can tell how they died, but you don't have an expert to be able to bring that forward, then we have experts to be able to help us to bring that forward. So we can spearhead that for you, help you with that, and walk you through that. If you have an automobile accident and you've got a situation where the person's that's at fault is not immediately clear, make sure that you get an accident reconstructionist. So that kind of goes back in what I just said to you about contacting an attorney. You have some of these situations where you have careening vehicles and everybody's going to be pointing the finger at everybody else. You need to make sure you get a hold of an attorney to see if you need an automobile accident reconstructionist to determine who is actually at fault. What will end up happening is, even if people know that they're at fault, in order to take away some of the amount of monies they have to pay, the insurance companies do this on a regular basis. They will not pay you what you're legally entitled to. They'll point a finger at somebody else and say, hey, we might have done a little bit of this, but this other bunch did more of it. Even though if you look at the case, the original party is really the one that was negligent. They're always trying to make sure, when I say they, I'm talking about not necessarily the defendants in the cases, but the insurance companies in cases are always trying to decrease the amount of monies they've got to pay out. So they're always pointing the finger at somebody else. But in that regard, make sure you contact an attorney, because you're going to have to be guided on how to get through some things. I've got several files that common sense, this person's at fault, and they will not pony up and pay. They're just not going to do it. In all those instances that I've talked about, where you have difficulty with them paying or making difficult decisions after wrongful death, whether it be medical malpractice, nursing home negligence, or automobile accidents or big truck accidents, contact us at the law offices of Craig L. Cook by calling us at 479-783-8000, contacting us through our website, lawofficesofcraiglcook.com, or you can email me directly, craig@lawofficesofcraiglcook.com. Thank you.